Hi, I brought Shadow Palkia to the biggest Pokemon Go tournament we had to date, and I was successful. Let me show you what I did. I knew from a month beforehand that I wanted to bring this Pokemon and started team building a week and a half or so before the tournament. To try it out, I brought it to a local tournament. We had some staple Dutch players competing here, such as Toe Tactical, Triptando, Howie, and Statstan. We also had an American commentator, Alpha Veep. At first, I tried it out with a Dunsparce plus Superior Core. I felt like this was the right call for the EUIC meta, but I found Dunsparce too lackluster against Shadow Drapion, and Annihilate was difficult to deal with too, so we made slight adjustments. I insisted on bringing Talonflame and Palkia. Talonflame has very few bad matchups and can overcome a lot with shield advantage, but those two already are weak to Azumarill, so my Drapion counter can't be weak to it. The solution is Gastrodon. It is not flexible, but it can tackle the Drapion plus Azumarill core, unlike Shadow Marowak, because that loses to Azumarill. Then I need to be able to shut down Annihilate and Galarian Corsola. I don't like Wigglytuff as much right now because of poor neutral matchups, but it does the job, and very few people bring hard counters to it. Tackle Azumarill, Galarian Corsola, Feraligatr, and Mudslap users, I brought Superior. It is very alignment dependent in the meta because of Shadow Drapion being everywhere, but otherwise it's a very strong neutral Pokemon. The last pick is Clodsire. Clodsire is another core breaker to the Azumarill and Drapion core. It can defeat Shadow Annihilate consistently and protects my team from Jump Love. Diggersby annihilates it, but I cover that Pokemon quite well in general. Having Palkia on the team meant I would always have a gap that I can't cover. In this case, I accepted the fact Corviknight and Dugong would be very tough to deal with.
Did you see that Pokemon in the bottom
Shadow
right?
Palkia.
Shadow Palkia is going to make an appearance in this tournament, known for the Giratina origin.
My first opponent was a One Piece card game commentator who had never played Pokemon Go PvP before. They tried registering for TCG but weren't able to because TCG sells out quickly. Their team was a bit scary as they had answers to everything on my team, but with proper mechanics knowledge and team composition, I won 2-0 swiftly. I used Palkia to win the second match here. My second opponent had competed in two regional championships before. They realized quickly after the first game that I won that I feel very comfortable bringing Clodsire. It became an RPS match between Gastrodon and Clodsire core on my side versus the Jump Love and Diggersby core on his side. I wasn't able to align Talonflame well to finish it off, but he let me get away with switch advantage in game 3, so my Gastrodon will be on Diggersby and my Clodsire will be on Jump Love. The third match was a grudge match from the 2025 Stuttgart Regional Championship. I managed to defeat Asprascelto there in a very close best of 3, and this time he brought the Corviknight I feared so much. I couldn't pull off the win using logical strategies, so I needed to play very risky ABA lines, leading extremely weak to Corviknight. It paid off as I was able to align my Talonflame on this Corviknight in the final game after winning switch advantage in the lead. I was hoping to play against my good Brazilian friend Lindos Canan in the winners finals of the group. I'd even brought my Lindos jersey way before it, but it was a Frenchman Welton instead.
For doing that, we have Welton up against Inadequates.
This is going to be a treat. We've got Inadequates. Let's just read off these teams real quickly. Inadequates with Clodsire, Superior, Talonflame, Wigglytuff, Gastrodon, and Shadow Palkia.
Weird. That's so strange. That was on my caster predictions of like what maybe someone could be bringing to EUIC.
Moving on, Welton with Dugong, Superior, Azumarill, Galarian Corsola, Shadow Drapion, and Shadow Kanto.
I lost the
Marowak.
first game, but disputed because I lost 1 or 2 turns on a swap in, and I believe there was a scenario that a few Dragon Breaths on his Drapion from Palkia could put it in 2 Frenzy Plant or 2 Area Ace range in the end game, and then I would win. After getting the rematch granted, I was able to overcome Welton. Palkia had a sad showing versus his Shadow Marowak, and granted that he had that knowledge now, I did not want to bring it again here. In the final game, I led my Gastrodon into his superior, but I baited out the Shadow Drapion with my Talonflame. This freed up my own superior, and with shields down, it became stronger into the Dugong that relies on Icy Wind attack drops. I predicted that he would try and catch a Resistive Frenzy Plant and then want Charge Stack priority against his superior. I could save my shield and clutch the game in the end, and I cleared my way to day 2.
I have to say, I predicted Shadow Palkia. That's all I
Oh,
have to say.
come on. You can't keep going with this. I mean, chat already knows. Chat knows that you had insider information. Come on.
No. Me? This girl?
Yeah, okay. Well, moving on.
I am not a fan of the first matches on day 2. I feel like my strength is quick thinking and reading, and giving opponents preparation time only makes them stronger. My first opponent on day 2 is V Tenacity, one of the best players in the UK, and thank God I brought Wigglytuff. Again, I think Wigglytuff is a mediocre Pokemon, but it shut down both his Goodra and Shadow Annihilate. It was not possible for V Tenacity to degen through my team because of my Wigglytuff. Just like against Simply Fourth, this became a bit RPS with my Gastrodon trying to target his Shadow Drapion and his Shadow Jumpluff hunting down my Gastrodon. I make an excellent adjustment in decisive game 3. I do not consider Clodsire a Shadow Drapion counter when shields are in play, but Clodsire does core break Jumpluff and Drapion when shields are down. Regardless, I fight for switch advantage because V Tenacity also fought for it, and that made me feel like he has the Jumpluff in the back for my Gastrodon. Wigglytuff, however, wins the 2-shield scenario as soon as he let the first Swift go, and thus I'm able to align my Gastrodon on Drapion and Clodsire on Shadow Jumpluff. I even made sure in the final moments of this game that the Jumpluff would not get too much energy on the Gastrodon, so I let this Drapion get more damage on my Gastrodon, and then stall the clock so I'm able to land the Body Slam, switch into the Clodsire, and clean up with Clod. Then, I would face off against my co-caster and good friend Arceus Aurelius. We visibly had a lot of banter on the stage and it was good fun. I made a wrong prediction in game number 1 as I expected the Mandibus to counter my very strong looking Gastrodon. In game 2 it came very close as again I make a wrong call, this time on where to put my final shield. My superior and his Drapion pace equally fast to the charge stacks needed, so I needed to make a catch. And this is where I choke, as I don't make a decision. I waited a turn, but should have tried to catch on Talonflame or expecting to predict I would do that. Arceus Aurelius brain farted even harder though, because he went for the Aqua Tail when he had the crunch. This doesn't knock out my superior, and it ties up the score to 1-1. My first words when game 3 started were, "You usually get punished when you throw a game like this." And I led my Gastrodon into his Charger Bug, a positive lead. But he knows Charger Bug's not that bad there. It didn't matter though. He gave me an early shield advantage, and I leveraged my Talonflame in the end game. And I got away with a 2-1, where I honestly should have lost by 0-2. My luck ran out quickly though. Battleman was my next opponent, a phenomenal battler who had won the 2025 Gdansk Regional Championship earlier this season. I defeated him at the 2023 World Championships, but I did not feel good about this. That's because his Shadow Walrein was just as unchecked as Dugong was, but is even stronger against reliable Pokemon of mine, such as Talonflame and Superior. I lose game number 1 just barely, but I was looking to win game 2. He gets away, however, with the damage registration error, getting to a charge stack he normally shouldn't get to, as this charm should knock out the Drapion before it should be able to launch the last Aqua Tail. I can't shield that. If I had that charge stack, I would pull the shield from Marowak and then win the game with Superior. This buggy and inconsistent mechanic is not disputable, however, so I lose by 0-2. I was so pissed about this, and Patoman even apologized to me a couple times. It's nothing he can do about it though, but now I had to wait about 5 hours for my next match on the loser side of the bracket. And this is a very important one though, because I need to win one more match to secure a trophy. In those 5 hours, it could have been anyone really. I expected it to be Marto Galde, the 2025 LAIC champion, but it was going to be Kazim, the Birmingham champion of this season. A really good player also from the UK, the last British player standing in the tournament. He had a pretty typical meta team. And looking at Kazim's team, Superior can really run through it when it's unchecked, and that meant he always had to bring Shadow Drapion. With my Gastrodon being unchecked, however, as he had no flying type nor grass type Pokemon, it made my matchup incredibly favorable. I make the perfect reads on his lines. I win switch advantage against Galarian Corsola in the lead, so I could align my Gastrodon on his Shadow Drapion in the back. I didn't care about that Dugong, that was just an obstacle in the way to RPS him. In game 2, I predicted he would run the same team. I had to keep Wigglytuff on Galarian Corsola and align my Gastrodon on his Shadow Drapion. Talonflame was just there to make sure I can keep Dugong in check after a bit of chip damage from the Wigglytuff. With this win, I had secured at least a 4th place trophy. But now, I need to win one more match to advance to Championship Sunday, where only the top 3 of the tournament would play. The final match is against the Belgian up-and-coming, Kuifje. He had a similar team as Kazim, but Kuifje is really good at making team calls. I would not have been surprised if he would bring the Shadow Primeape into my team. In game 1, I leveraged my team composition easily by leading Talonflame into Shadow Marowak and have my Wigglytuff on his Galarian Corsola. In game 2, I make an incredible read again by leading Gastrodon into Shadow Drapion, but I'm unable to close it out. I predicted Azumarill in the back, so I brought the Superior. At the very last second, after launching the Body Slam into his Dugong, I decided to swap that Superior into Dugong instead of my Talonflame. My thought here was that if I can get a huge energy lead of 2 or 3 Incinerates, that Drapion has nowhere to go, and it wouldn't matter if it was Azumarill in the back. My undercharge is terrible, however, as I knock out the Superior. My only lose condition was Drapion be able to farm down my Superior and him leveraging a shield advantage for Azumarill, in which he succeeded. In game 3, I again make the call he brings Azumarill in the back. Kuifje plays the same team, and this time I keep Superior for his Azumarill. This was a good call, but my execution is poor. I tried to catch a charge stack in the very end, but miscounted by a Poison Sting, and it loses me the game. Kuifje turned my flaws into his win conditions at the very end of the day, and it ends my run at a top 4. And the 4th place finalist at an international championships gets a trophy, so that's how I got a trophy with Palkia. Palkia was not meant to be a joke or just a bad pick to bring per se. It was serious. It won 1 game in the 4 times I brought it. The closer I got to the trophy, the less I brought it, really. The only team I really would have used again, I think, is the Zweilos, because I had no other Talonflame answer. And as much as I wanted to use the Palkia, I didn't really get to it. And by the end of the day, even though looking back at the Bells versus Kuifje, I just get more frustrated with myself, the misplays that I make. But in the very end, I basically got a trophy with 5 Pokemon, which is insane. That ended my run and story at the 2025 EUIC. If you want to see who won it all in the end, you can watch back the video on the official Pokemon channel on Twitch or YouTube. And to end the video, I asked some content creators that you may know what they think of Shadow Palkia. If you like the video, give a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next one. Thomas, what is your opinion of Shadow Palkia?
Shadow Palkia is a freaking shit Pokemon. It's so bad. You never ran it, and when you ran it, you lost. So it's pretty bad. Pretty impressive you made it to top 4 with it, though. I'll give you that.
I honestly think it's a dog shit Pokemon. You shouldn't have brought it with you. In fact, I remember that Kanto Marowak that farmed you down. It was really cringe. And then I feel like every time you brought it on stage, you weren't doing well with it. So if anybody's like inspired by your run with Shadow Palkia, I'm not sure how you did at the tables with it, but I honestly would never bring it.
Well, it's really, really good. I don't understand why you didn't bring it more. I really wish you brought it more.
It's so daring. It's a very bold pick, but it's what does it mean?
Would you bring it to a tournament?
I'm so inspired by your run because if you can get 4th place with Shadow Palkia, I have to try it.
Shadow Palkia, what a load of garbage. The fact that you got 4th place with that pile of trash is embarrassing. Everybody that you beat should be absolutely ashamed of themselves.
It's shit. It's completely terrible. But in your hands it works, right? So I don't know.
I think Shadow Palkia provides a lot of fast move damage, but it's dog. It's worse than Jumpluff. That's all I can say.
How many trophies did Jumpluff win this weekend?
How many trophies does Jumpluff win in life?
That's not the question.
That's all I want to say.
What is your opinion of the pink Gastrodon?
My opinion is if it was blue, you would have won the whole thing. But pink did very well for being pink.
How do you feel about Palkia winning a trophy this weekend and Jumpluff did not?
It didn't win a tournament, so it doesn't matter.
What's your opinion of Palkia?
It doesn't exist. You play with 5 Pokemon.